Master Bruce, are you all right, sir?
I'm tired, Alfred.
Well, I shouldn't wonder. You've taken no meals today. I can't recall when you last slept.
A weary body can be dealt with, but a weary spirit, that's something else. Sometimes, old friend, I wonder if I'm really doing any good out there.
How can you doubt it? The lives you've saved, the criminals you've brought to justice.
I've put out a few fires, yes, won a few battles. But the war goes on, Alfred. On and on.
I love Batman. As the beacon of hope in a city filled with all the least desirable things about living itself, he stands tall above those who are unable to make good decisions for themselves. Those that have been plagued by self-hatred, an experiment gone wrong, having your love be taken advantage of, or just having one really bad day. I love Batman, the creature who lives and breathes in the shadows, that isn't allowed to feel what most normal people feel. Happiness, true joy, youthfulness, the feeling of belonging to a family or group. He can't feel what it's like to not have to constantly worry about the safety and security of others. He can't ever feel okay, but it's okay to not feel okay sometimes. And he can't, well, rather, he isn't allowed to feel these things because he is Batman. And I love Batman. Moreover, he's not allowed to feel these things because of the obligation he has to uphold for the potential of how good his city can be. Not how good or safe it is right now, per se, but the fact that it can be good someday. The fact that the disgruntled can be good someday. The possibility of having hope for the future. Short sidebar, for me personally, I've said to quite a few people that I do certain things because I feel obligated to do them, and for some reason it just brings this sort of negative connotation like, wow, you're only doing these things because you feel like you have to, and that's not the case at all. It's the obligation I willingly have put over myself to do certain things, For instance, like giving advice through the knowledge I have or my own experiences, doing something for someone because they're unable to do it themselves and I know I can do it for them, or helping someone see the true potential within themselves, whatever the case might be. I took the obligation not because I felt like I have to when I truly don't want to, because truth is, I do want to. And I know it's what I'm supposed to be doing as a good human being. So that's why I do feel obligated. I do have an obligation. That similar obligation to help others, like Batman has. And I do love Batman. The promise he keeps to himself to never give up, no matter the cost. To keep striving, keep pushing, keep going forward no matter what. And similar to what I had said before, it's almost as if he can't, rather he isn't allowed to give up. Because think about it, if he did give up, would he be able to accomplish all his goals? No. Would he be able to do what he does night on end without any rest? No. So I often think to myself, if Batman doesn't give up, if he isn't allowed to give up, then I'm not allowed to give up either. Batman never gives up. And I do love Batman. Being a master strategist and the literal world's greatest detective, finding a way out of a roadblock is just second nature to him. Finding the alternative path. And when you think about it, his entire life is about how he took the alternative path. It's no secret everybody deals with trauma of some kind, no matter who you are. And the trauma he was faced with as a kid, as an 8-year-old young boy, he had two options. Let the tragedy that he had experienced force him to crumble under the pressure and, scurry him away from reality and life itself. Or, you take that pain and use it as a catalyst to shape you into someone more, something more. He became the Batman. And I gotta say, I love Batman. compassion for people like you can't even understand. And I know a lot of the time it may not seem like that because, you know, he can come off as a dick sometimes, but I think that's just because he gets straight to the point, and I guess that's another thing I love about him, being straight to the point. He always says precisely what needs to be said, not what could be said, or not always what he wants to say, but what's required to be said. And I can appreciate that, saying just the right amount. Yet another reason why I love Batman. And finally, as much as he likes to think of himself as an impenetrable fortress, as a one-man army, at the end of the day, we all know he is just a man. And as men, you know, we sometimes doubt ourselves. We doubt our capabilities. We doubt our ability to change, making a change for good. We just have doubts sometimes. And though he is a man standing amongst literal gods, he is just a man, as you and I are, and he struggles with always doubting whether he's actually doing the right thing, and I think that's something that I can definitely relate to. But once you cross that line of having that doubt within yourself, you just have to always remember and keep close to you why you do the things that you do in the first place. That's what gives you purpose to do them at all. And honestly, I think it's something we all can relate to, at least in some degree. But that's precisely why I love Batman. You know, I uploaded this video on this specific day for quite the specific reason, and if you're a Batman fan, and if you're watching this video, you probably are. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about. It's been exactly 1 year since Kevin Conroy had passed away, and you know, it's still weird. So extremely weird saying and knowing and coming to grips with, you know, knowing that the person that, you know, made my favorite character, the person that defined my favorite character is no longer with us. It's still definitely, you know, not the easiest thing to think about. And evidently, you know, if you couldn't tell from, you know, literally all of my YouTube videos thus far, when it comes to talking about Batman, it gets really personal for me. You know, it really gets personal for me, and you know, it's because of, you know, how long I've been introduced to this character for. Like, you know, the whole superhero thing is not a new concept to me, and definitely it hasn't been with Batman. I woke up with, you know, a batarang in my hand, you know. So, you know, all of this is just as a true devoted fan and, you know, lover and everything in between of this character and in the mythos. It's still heartbreaking, you know. It's still definitely heartbreaking, and I don't want to talk, you know, for too long. The video essentially ended. You got the main gist of why I love this guy right here. And so for this extra, you know, last bit, I just wanted to talk about, you know, my appreciation for Kevin Conroy and, you know, what he contributed to this character we all know and love. So first off, like, I think him voicing Batman was my sole reason for, like, wanting to become a voice actor. I haven't, you know, starred in anything just yet, but, you know, if anything's out there, I'm totally down to voice act for it. And it's all because of him, like, well, all because of him and then some, you know. There's definitely some other people that I definitely look up to when it comes to voice acting, but him, it, like, solely fueled my passion for, like, you know, just using your voice as, like, bending your voice and using it as, you know, different masks I'll be honest, it took me a while to say masks, cause like, who says masks on a daily basis? Anyways, just bending your voice to, you know, present yourself as different characters, just your voice, you know, having that handicap compared to, you know, other conventional actors, it forces you to really, like, you know, dig your heels in and double down on, you know, truly how good you are at presenting yourself as these different characters. And evidently, you know, you would have never thought, you know, hearing, you know, this man just talk normally, you would never thought, you know, he'd have such a, you know, dark noir like voice, you know. You never thought that it could portray such, you know, emotion, you know, such pain, such, you know, agony, you know, loneliness, all that, everything in between. But yeah, he's definitely my main inspiration for wanting us to become at least a part-time voice actor. You know, it's not my main thing, obviously, because, you know, I got other things that I'd like to do before I die, but voice acting is definitely one of them. And, you know, when you think about it, like, he really gave such life and depth to the character, because, you know, before, you know, he made his debut on Batman the Animated Series, like, that's before my time, but, you know, looking back on that time period and even before that, like, who else was really in that position? Of course, Adam West, you know, rest in peace, to the first ever to really do it, I believe. Like, you know, again, rest in peace to Adam West. But, you know, that when it comes to, you know, the performance that he, you know, put on, obviously it was a very different Batman. And, you know, the Batman that Kevin, you know, portrayed to all of us, you know, again, it was just a very different, darker, you know, Batman. And to this day, nobody else really has done it like him. I know that Jensen Ackles, you know, he had voiced Batman a few times within the past couple years. I think he does a pretty damn good job, but, you know, we'll always have, you know, the original to look up to. I don't mean, you know, to demean, you know, Jensen Ackles in any kind of way, like to say that he's, you know, not as good, but, you know, we all love Kevin Conroy. That's all I was trying to, you know, get across. I may be all over with this because most of this is just unscripted. I just have a couple points I just wanted to talk about. But lastly, you know, being in the position where, you know, you essentially have to fully believe and, like, entrance yourself into thinking that, you know, you are this character. I think that, you know, he understood the character better than really anyone else, and how he was so absolutely devoted to, you know, portraying the character every time he stepped into the booth. Like, and you think about it, every single time he stepped into the booth, he, you know, relived this character that was so extremely familiar to him. And I don't know, it's crazy to think that it's crazy to think how, you know, one singular person had, at least for me, has defined who Batman is to me. And one last final thing, it's really crazy how where I was when I got the news. Like, I was literally just laying in bed, you know, just waking up that morning to find out that, you know, that all this happened. And, you know, I definitely did have my fair share of waterworks. And it's so crazy because the day before, I was drawing, and, you know, guess who I was drawing and what version I was drawing that character of. You know, I'll put a picture up on screen, but yeah, it was just very, very surreal in that moment. And, you know, so it's really crazy. I remember it like it was yesterday. But anyways, you know, I don't want to make this video too long. Again, the point of the video, you know, you've already gotten past that. So I just wanted to say thank you for those that still watch these videos. I'm not sure who has the patience to, you know, deal with shit like this. You know, I know that it's been a while, and you know, again, I don't want to make this too long, but just know that this isn't, you know, the extent of what this channel can do. Like the ceiling that I can see in my head is so far above anything, you know, beyond comprehension. I'm not making sense right now, I know, but just hear me out. Just I know that the potential that this channel has, it's very high, especially with me behind the helm. So for those that, you know, are still around watching these videos, I thank you very much. For any new people, hello, I'm Gibson. I like Batman, if you didn't know. I also like a lot of other things, cars mainly. I definitely want to really start, you know, digging my heels in and focusing on the growth of this channel and the growth of me as a creative, the growth of me as, you know, an artiste, as you may, I don't know. I want to focus on this channel, and within the next year, like, it's a do or die type of moment. It's either all or nothing. So with that being said, I thank you all for your continued support. I thank you for 188 subscribers. You know, I'm not sure how many of those 188 subscribers are, you know, still here watching the end of this video, but if you are, I thank you. I would give you a hug if I saw you, if I knew who you were exactly. And I've definitely conversed back and forth with, you know, a couple of subscribers, or at least people I think that are subscribers to me. But, you know, because of the last couple of videos, yeah, I've definitely, you know, had some good conversations about some previous video topics. But that being said, I thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.
I live in New York, and after the attacks on 9/11, we were getting all these, you know, hundreds of meals ready, and this one guy in the middle of the night, like 3 nights into this, he goes, "So my day job is I'm an architect." He says, "What's your day job?" I said, "Well, I do voices mostly." He went, "I knew it." He said, "You're the guy who does Batman. You're that Kevin Conroy." So he goes into this dining hall, and this is, you know, the first week after the attack, and there'd been like just this somber sadness. And you hear him go, Guys, you're not gonna believe who's been cooking your dinners. It's Batman." There's this long silence, and you hear, "Bullshit," from the back of the place. And he said, then someone else says, "Make him prove it." So I thought, oh, this is good. So I'm in the back kitchen, and I do from the back kitchen, "I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman." There's this long pause, and then you hear from the back of the place, "Holy that is Batman." And suddenly people were laughing. And the architect who had recognized me said, "What's it feel like to be Santa Claus?" I said, "Because that's what just happened here."